Okay, hello. This is my first attempt at making a self-made video, and I want to do one about each of my books. I don't feel very comfortable in front of the camera, so I try and be as myself as I can. Basically, a bit of background about the first work of fiction that I wrote, The View From Keloboulos. I'd already written 4 amusing, as I like to call them, memoirs about my Greek experience, which I eventually called the Ramblings from Rhodes series, documenting basically my Greek experience from having married a girl with a Greek mother a long time ago, hence originally going to Athens for the first time to get presented to the family and all that stuff. But I always said when I wrote the Ramblings books, I couldn't see myself writing fiction, mainly because it's infinitely harder than non-fiction. For a start, you have to get so many things right. You have to get all the descriptions of places right. They have to be believable. If someone has been to that place, they need to know or say when they read it, yes, this is correct, I can believe it. So that's descriptions, and also if you, for example, involve the police in the story, you need to know the procedures that they follow in the circumstances that you're going to place them in the story. You've got to create characters that the reader will identify with, engage with, possibly even like, depending on whether it's a hero or a villain. And of course you need a plot, and not only a plot that will absorb the reader. I know from my own experience reading books, if you don't create a plot that absorbs the reader fairly soon, you may as well write gibberish, because by the time you get past the first few pages, no one's going to be reading it anyway. So for those reasons and a few others, I kind of shied away from writing fiction. And then one day after I'd written the 4 memoir books, the Ramblings, just almost accidentally recalled the experience of a young couple I'd known some decades ago when I lived in South Wales. And if you wonder why I'm looking down, I have got some notes just to help me remember what to say. Anyway, I remember this couple, and it suddenly gave me the germ of this idea. I can't write a spy thriller, I can't write an adventure novel, because I don't know about those things, but I do know about relationships, feelings, don't we all? It's something that we all know about, really. And bit by bit, my 2 lead characters, Dean and Alison, began to flesh out in my mind, and I actually began to get quite excited about writing this story. I finally thought with Keloboulos that I had a story that would work. And of course, to make it engaging, you need to put in a few twists here and there, which I was able to do, fortunately. I'm sure I'm not the first fiction writer to say this, but it's quite weird. When I got stuck into it, it was almost like it was writing itself. I had writing sessions of several hours on occasion when I was just furiously banging away at the keyboard with a head kind of bursting with ideas before I lost them, and it just kind of created itself. Anyway, the result was my first novel, The View From Keloboulos. And judging by the honest number of reviews it has so far on the Amazon UK page, 88% of them give it 4 or 5 stars, so I'd like to think that it did set out to achieve what I hoped it would. And of course it led me on eventually to write other novels, and I will put a video for each of these books, and indeed the Ramblings books, eventually on the site, just with a bit of background like this one. And I suppose The View From Keloboulos was meant to be a book that kind of explores how life manipulates us, doesn't it? It's often described as the human condition, the way things that happen in the past, not even things done by ourselves, done by others, that eventually can affect our lives to destroy or crush us, or certainly to mould us, and if in no other way, certainly emotionally. The View From Keloboulos has been described by somebody as Thomas Thomas Hardy for the 21st century. And I can live with that. Bye.